Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying that we are honored as Kenya and consider it a privilege to be able to join you on this all-important webinar, and also to get an opportunity to share the measures and the perspective in dealing with this crisis, and also to share the measures we have put in place to ensure that we make contribution as a country in easing the humanitarian crisis affecting seafarers worldwide due to COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, to learn from all of you on what we could do better to assist these critical workers. Of course, the platform we are using today to conduct this critical conversation is testament to the disruption that has visited us since the beginning of this year. But it is also a statement of the resilience, not just of the human spirit, but also of our ability as a maritime community to adapt in the face of adversity. At the outset, I wish to acknowledge and laud the IMO Secretary General and his team at the Secretariat for the leadership that he has provided in the face of this global pandemic in rallying different stakeholders, critical stakeholders, to come to the assistance of seafarers. Let me say that shipping remains indispensable and a very important link in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, with many of the supplies required to fight the pandemic being transported by sea, not just to fight the pandemic, but also for the continued enjoyment of the life we so much take for granted, as you so well said, William. Following the widespread travel restrictions and border closures, the safety and economic repercussions of this crisis have been most significant. Crews have become overworked, unable to get relief, with the focus and energies continuously drained and resulting in homesickness, depression, and for some of them, sadly, becoming suicidal and with fatal consequences. It was very sad to hear the case you cited earlier of the captain from Ghana, leading to high exposure to risk of accident and, of course, marine pollution. It also exposes the seafarers to accidents and incidents on board that affect the safety of ships, cargoes, as well as exposing the marine environment to high risks of pollution. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll briefly share with pleasure our government's response and some of the actions we've taken in the face of the humanitarian crisis at sea. We confirmed our first COVID case in this country on 13th of March 2020. And of course, like everybody else, we followed what other governments had done and suspended all activities that we thought would present a risk of accelerating the spread of the virus. Of course, this included the suspension of international air travel, crew change, as well as all shore leave during port stays. This, of course, these actions, of course, though well intended in order to protect the population, caused a lot of adverse impact on seafarers. But we were grateful, particularly from the perspective of the maritime community, when IMO, ILO, and other concerned bodies, the ICS, called us out as the world to the unintended crisis at sea as a result of these actions, and behoved upon us to recognize seafarers as key and essential workers in need of guaranteed free movement. And we therefore, as a country, answered the call by designating seafarers as key workers and also putting in place the necessary infrastructure and arrangement to provide and afford seafarers safe and unhindered movement to embark and disembark vessels through the port of Mombasa. This action was also premised on the following few considerations that I will name. First of all, the port of Mombasa serves a huge hinterland on the eastern seaboard of Africa, which offers not just cargo delivery facilities, but also other services essential for the safe and smooth operation of ships, such as bunkering, waste disposal, stores, ship survey, and most important, crew change. And being signatory to the Maritime Labour Convention 2006, Kenya has committed to protect the safety, health, and welfare of all seafarers, irrespective of their nationalities. So the government very quickly, therefore, put in place arrangements to resume air travel through our international airports, and therefore provided the possibility for ships crew change with assurance for connectivity for signing on and departing crew through Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the region's aviation hub, with connectivity to major destinations around the world. And we are very happy to have been part of this story of easing just a bit of the crisis that seafarers have experienced by being able to facilitate more than 1,000 seafarers from more than 85 ships to undertake crew change through the port of Mombasa. It's always an issue of great satisfaction to be able to do that. But as others, we realize, as the previous speakers before me, that we still have a lot to do, and we need we need more wider collaboration and strong goodwill from within the respective government agencies, not just in Kenya, but in the region and at large. In addition, the respective maritime administrations, we need to involve sectoral stakeholders, airlines, healthcare sector, port facilities, and shipping companies in order to ensure and facilitate smooth crew change and repatriation of these very important key workers. Most important, let's not ignore the fact that the widespread requirements for COVID-19 certificates has been placed with time-bound attendant costs. And therefore, there is need to consider modalities of spreading the costs among as many players as possible so as to cushion not just the seafarers themselves, but also the consumers who may be affected by additional costs being passed to them, and thus negating from the age-old principle that shipping must remain the most affordable and cost-effective form of transport. I think we are going to get another opportunity to come back, but allow me at this stage to express our sincere appreciation from the Kenya government and the people of Kenya. We want to express our sincere appreciation to all seafarers across the world who have made great sacrifices in order to ensure that the international global supply chains keep rolling. And we also call upon our fellow member states within the region and at large to do all it takes in order to end the ongoing disruptions at sea and to ensure safe, secure, and affordable global supply chain. It is important and yet very urgent that we must have common approach and quick acceptance of a unified procedure for crew change amongst countries, considering the international nature of shipping. Consideration must also be made for seafarers who are now stranded ashore with no income, while being the only breadwinners in their families, to be able to rejoin ships, because the world relies on seafarers to deliver most of the things they need, including medicine, food, and energy. And the shipping industry and seafarers now look upon us to protect their welfare in these very difficult times. I submit, Chairman.